Hey friends, Daniel here with the Leadpages tech team bringing you today's tech tip.
There are some circumstances where you may need to publish a pop-up in another way, such as when you don't have direct access to your site's code. During this tech tip, we'll dive into creating a URL for a drag and drop builder pop-up. As we're working, we're going to be using a specific URL structure to create the pop-up's URL. And I've gone ahead and added this structure into my note here so that we can easily see it and use it. Now, let's go ahead and grab the plain text link publishing code for our pop-up from within our Leadpages account to help us fill in the details of the URL we're creating. In this case, in our Leadpages account here, I'm going to go ahead and head to Conversion Tools on the left-hand menu, and more specifically, pop-ups. Under the pop-up section of my account, I do have a pop-up that I've already created and published here that I'm going to be using. Now, I do want to access the pop-up's publishing code, and I can find this by clicking on the Actions menu and selecting Publishing Options. Now, again, I'm just going to be using plain text link because there's not a lot in that code, so it's really easy to tell what I need and pick that out. So let's go ahead and click on Get Code, and I'm going to go ahead and copy all the code that I see here. Now that I've done so, I'm going to go ahead and paste this into the note that we have as well. So I'll go ahead and input that here. And just a quick note to mention is to avoid using a word processor for this step. Make sure to use a plain text editor. All right, now that we have that code pasted into our note here, let's go ahead and pick apart this URL. So let's start with your domain. We're going to replace your domain and your leadbox, anything in the carets here. So our domain we can easily see right here. It says data leadbox domain, and it's going to have it right here. So let's go ahead and just copy that first part because it already has .lpages or .leadpages.co in there, so it's totally fine. We just need this first part, the subdomain. So let's go ahead and replace that. We copied that already. Let's replace what's in the carets here with that. Next, we want to find our leadbox ID, which is going to be data leadbox pop-up, and it's going to be this right here. So let's go ahead and highlight that and copy it. And then, of course, again, replace what we have in our carets. The URL that we've just created can be linked to a clickable action on your site. But just keep in mind that it will open in a new tab or page rather than as a pop-up with just using this link directly. Now, if you'd like to enable pop-up functionality, you can do this by adding the JavaScript portion of the publishing code to your site. And that's this portion right here at the top. So script to script right there, that first line. If you use a site platform with themes and templates or don't have access to your page's source code, look for the code injection or a code widget option. Keep in mind that some website builders don't allow JavaScript. If your site platform doesn't allow for JavaScript code, you can still use the pop-up's URL, having the pop-up open in a new tab or page. If you do have multiple pop-ups on your site or page, you only need to install that JavaScript we talked about, so this script portion here, once. I really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me for this tech tip. And don't forget, if you have any questions, our knowledge base and support team are just a click away within your Leadpages account under support.